Some decisions don't look dangerous when they're made. They look reasonable, they look calculated, they look calm. But months later, they rewrite fortunes, collapse empires, or quietly save a life's work. Billionaires are not reckless gamblers. They are professional decision-makers under uncertainty. Before they act, they prepare their minds not with motivation, but with frameworks that survive pressure. This episode is about the books they return to before the moment that cannot be undone. Welcome to Sethtra Books. Dangerous decisions are not about courage. They are about judgment when information is incomplete. And the first book many elite decision-makers reach for is not about intelligence at all. Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke reframes decision-making as probability, not outcome. This book teaches a brutal truth. A good decision can still lead to a bad result, and a bad decision can sometimes win. Most people judge themselves by outcomes. Billionaires judge themselves by process. When a high-stakes investment fails, the amateur panics. The professional asks, was the bet correct given what I knew at the time? This mindset prevents emotional spiral. It protects future clarity. Dangerous decisions require separating luck from skill, and thinking in bets trains that muscle relentlessly. Before committing capital, influence, or reputation, this book reminds decision-makers to ask, am I reacting to variance or thinking clearly? From there, many turn to a quieter, more sobering work. The Most Important Thing by Howard Marks is not about making money fast. It is about not losing when others lose control. This book teaches second-level thinking, the ability to see beyond the obvious, beyond headlines, beyond crowd emotion. When markets are euphoric, Marx asks, what risks are being ignored? When fear dominates, he asks, what value is being mispriced? Dangerous decisions are rarely about opportunity alone. They are about timing, cycles, and restraint. This book trains patience under pressure, the kind that prevents catastrophic overreach. Then comes a book many leaders treat like a personal operating system. Principles by Ray Dalio is not a philosophy book. It is a decision engine. Dalio built systems to remove ego from judgment. He replaced intuition with clear rules tested against reality. Before a dangerous decision, this book reminds leaders to ask, what principle applies here? What pattern from the past repeats now? It teaches that pain plus reflection equals progress. Dangerous decisions punish those who improvise under stress. They reward those who have already decided how they decide. Next comes a book that strips away illusion. Good Strategy, Bad Strategy by Richard Rumelt is often underestimated and quietly feared. It exposes how most plans are not strategies at all. They are slogans dressed as confidence. This book forces clarity. A real strategy identifies the core problem, chooses a coherent approach, and commits to hard trade-offs. Before high-risk moves, acquisitions, pivots. Exits. This book forces decision-makers to ask, what are we actually trying to solve? Dangerous decisions collapse when the problem is misdiagnosed. Rumelt's work prevents that blindness. Then comes a book few talk about, but many serious thinkers respect. The Art of Judgment by Joseph M. Hall explores something rare, how humans make decisions when rules fail. Not algorithms, not formulas. Judgment. This book studies leaders, judges, and commanders who must act without certainty. It teaches discernment, the ability to weigh nuance, context, and consequence. Dangerous decisions live in gray zones. This book sharpens the eye for those zones. From there, many decision-makers step back even further in time. Against the Gods by Peter L. Bernstein is not about finance. It's about risk itself. It traces how humans learn to measure uncertainty instead of fearing it. Probability, insurance, forecasting before modern risk theory. Dangerous decisions were superstition. After it, they became calculated exposure. This book reminds billionaires that risk is not the enemy. unmeasured risk is. Then comes a book that teaches humility through chaos. The Black Swan by Nassim Nicholas Taleb is not comforting, and that is why it matters. It warns that the most important events are the ones no model predicts. Before making irreversible decisions, this book whispers a warning. What am I assuming cannot happen? Taleb teaches robustness over prediction. Dangerous decisions fail when systems are fragile. This book trains leaders to build structures that survive shocks even when the future surprises them. Closely paired with it is a book about the mind's hidden traps. Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman reveals how cognitive bias sabotages judgment. Overconfidence, anchoring. Confirmation bias. Under pressure, even intelligent people revert to shortcuts. Before dangerous decisions, this book forces awareness. Is this logic, or is this my bias speaking? It teaches decision-makers to slow down when the stakes are high. Finally, there is a book about accuracy under uncertainty. Superforecasting by Philip E. Tetlock studies people who consistently predict better than experts. Not because they are geniuses, but because they think differently. They break problems into parts. They update beliefs. They hold opinions lightly. Dangerous decisions punish arrogance. This book trains intellectual humility, the ability to change one's mind without collapsing identity. Together, these 9 books form something powerful, not a guarantee of success, but a defense against self-destruction. Billionaires do not read these books to feel inspired. They read them to survive moments when intuition is not enough. Moments when reputation, capital, and legacy sit on a single choice. At Sethtra Books, we don't glorify wealth. We study how thinking shapes outcomes when pressure is highest. If this episode sharpened how you see decisions, risk, and judgment, subscribe to Sethtra Books. Because the most dangerous moves are not made by the reckless. They are made by those who prepare their minds long before the moment arrives. And when the decision finally comes, they're ready.